Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to start talking about rule learning in terms of how to teach your students about how to write and label scales. So at this point, students should have been playing some scales probably by rote, maybe using keyboard pictures and hand pictures with the appropriate fingerings colored in. These are, if you use music moves for piano, you're familiar with this kind of graphic notation. So students at this point should know the difference between a whole and a half step. They should know the various names of notes, so that lowest black key in a group of three black keys can be called F sharp or G flat. So maybe a little bit of review to take a few minutes before you embark on this would be a good idea. And then I'm going to show you a little bit of what I do in terms of kind of the writing out and learning of these when we're really trying to connect them more to notation. In the next video I make, I will show the 3 scale fingering rules and how we teach students to play the scales hands alone in a kind of more advanced and addressing the abstract sort of way. So the first thing we're going to do when we want to teach a student to how to write and notate these major scales is we're going to build them according to the tetrachords. So I will start with a blank piece of paper for the student, and I will write the solfege across the top. Oops, there should be an O there. I'm out of room. And then I draw a line down the middle. And then I'm going to make this a little skinnier. So do to re is a whole step, re to mi is a whole step, mi to fa is a half step, so to la is a whole step, la to ti is a whole step, ti to do is a half step. So this is showing that those 2 halves of the scale are actually intervallically identical. And then from fa to so is a whole step. And most students at that point have been playing the 5 finger patterns already, so they're familiar with that whole, whole, half, whole. So then I would write out for the student the first scale, starting with the people's key, C major. And I would ask them as I wrote this out, okay, what's the whole step above C? So we're using this as I'm providing this for them as an opportunity for review. Then we take the top half of the scale and we write it as the bottom half of the next scale. Then I always tell students, write your letter names in order and then use the keyboard. C, we need a whole step above C, which is D, whole step above D, which is E, whole step above E, which is going to have to be F sharp, half step above T or F sharp is going to be G. And by writing the letters first, so we can transfer the D, E, F sharp, G, because we know if we did this right, then that's going to be right, although it's not a bad idea to double check that. Then we write our letter names, A, B, C, D. We do our whole half, and we have our next scale. And we can keep doing that. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. So you would have A and then E and then B major. So B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Put in our sharps. Whole, half. F sharp. Actually, I'm going to leave a little bit more space there. F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, D, E, F. Put in our sharps, whole, half. So you'll see that by writing the letters first, we avoid the weird thing that can happen. Sometimes people get to an E sharp and they want to write an F, but they've already called it an E. So now they know they have to change that. So then we have one more. Just trying to figure out a faster way of doing this, but it seemed like I was skipping too much, so we will do it this way. Whole step, half step. Now I'm at a sharp, so I know I'm at the end, okay? So now I'm going to change color, and I'm a big user of color. I find it helps students a lot in kind of differentiating between things. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write the enharmonic spelling of each of these scales. So the other name for B is C flat, other name for C sharp is D flat, other name for D sharp is E flat, other name for E is F flat, other name for F sharp is G flat, G sharp becomes A flat, E sharp becomes B flat, B becomes becomes C flat. So now you'll see here I have all 7 flats. So then we continue. B flat, C flat, D flat. And again, you have the students do this after the first couple. And I usually have them do the first few with me watching and then do all the sharps at home. Then the next week I teach them how to write the enharmonics, and we do a couple. We do it till we get to here, because now we can continue with our previous approach, which is you write all the letter names in, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, and now we have our A flat major. We would keep going and have E flat major, B flat major, and F. So the beauty of this is, first of all, now they have all the scales written out on one sheet of paper. They can practice the scales, the left hand playing the lower tetrachord and the right hand playing the upper tetrachord. I like to use fingers 4, 3, 2, 1 because so then your thumbs are on fa and so. And so they can actually practice all 12 major keys with using 2 hands. But this is also handy for some other reasons. It turns into a really good visual guide to a number of things. A lot of students will notice the new sharp is always here. So your last sharp in your key signature is T. You go up a half step from your last sharp, you know what major key you're in. They'll also notice that when you're moving your way up, the new flat is always here. And often they'll notice, I'll do this, and if not, I show them that that new flat becomes the root of the next scale up on the chart. So this helps them with order of sharps, order of flats, because they'll see this B, E, A, D, G, C, F over here, F, C, G, D, A, E, B for the order of sharps. So they have all of all the theoretical aspects are then contained on this one page. The other thing that's really nice is it also shows us, let's see, what color have I not used yet? If we look for law, we find the relative minor. So that's also contained on that sheet. And for many weeks, I have the students bring this sheet. I have them do it in their notebook, or they bring it while we learn many of the scales, and they have it handy to do a lot of theory work. And I have found this just to be a wonderful tool for students. And then they've built all those scales. They understand each letter name once. They've learned the order of sharps and flats. They've learned the circle of fifths, which is here. Sorry, this should have a C sharp. So they've learned the circle of fifths. It's a wonderful tool, and I've taught this in keyboard skills classes and have the students go, whoa, that makes so much more sense. So I recommend you try this with your students. The next video, I will actually demonstrate at the piano the 3 fingering rules. So I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon.